Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Straight to the Point. I am Greg Jackson, self-proclaimed attorney extraordinaire, a co-host on the weekly radio talk show program, Let's Talk About It, and a general in the Let's Talk Nation. As always, this channel is about educating, entertaining, and empowering viewers by addressing commonly asked legal questions that I hear from time to time. But as you know, we sometimes hit on some non-legal topics, and that's when we really have some fun. So in some other videos, when I address automobile negligence cases and the coverages that may be available in those cases, you've already heard me talk about PIP or personal injury protection. You've also heard me talk about the medical payment or the MedPay benefits. And I also touched on bodily injury insurance and also the crises that I think that's going to be here in the state of Florida for not having mandatory BI coverage. But today we're going to wrap this up and we're going to talk about one of the other layers of coverages that's known as uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. So as a recap, PIP and MedPay benefits are the coverages that you have on your own insurance. The PIP benefits come automatically. The MedPay benefits come if you pay an additional deductible or premium on your policy. But in addition to that, we also talked about bodily injury insurance, which is a coverage that the other driver has or the driver that may have caused the accident or caused you injuries. Now, this other layer of coverage is yet again another type of coverage that you would have to pay a premium on your own policy. But in my estimation, it is greatly worth having this coverage. Now, that coverage is called uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. In hearing the name of this type of coverage, uninsured motorist coverage covers you if the driver who caused the accident did not have any bodily injury coverage, meaning that they caused this accident, they slammed into your car, you've incurred some medical expenses, your PIP picked up on it, but they don't have any coverage that's going to help with those medical bills. So you have uninsured motorist coverage that will kick in and pay on top of the PIP benefits the medical expenses that are incurred, possibly up to the amount of uninsured motorist coverage that you have. Underinsured motorist coverage is slightly different because the person that caused the accident may have the bare minimum of bodily injury coverage or does not have enough bodily injury coverage to cover the expenses that you've incurred for injuries. And so your underinsured motorist coverage will kick in an additional amount of funds to cover your medical expenses for the amount that the at-fault driver's bodily injury coverage could not cover. So let me just give you an example in that. Let's say you're driving down the street, you're rammed into the rear of your vehicle by another car, you go to the hospital, your PIP benefits pick up the $10,000, you go and you seek treatment, and let's say you incur another $50,000 in medical treatment because those things happen. The other person has $10,000 in bodily injury coverage. Thank goodness it was nothing, but it's not enough. So their insurance company will tender that policy for $10,000, but that leaves you with about $40,000 in outstanding medical expenses. So how do you cover that? If you have underinsured motorist coverage, you then look to your own insurance carrier to pay whatever that difference is in the medical expenses from your underinsured motorist coverage. So if you have $20,000 in underinsured motorist coverage, then they would possibly pay up to the $20,000. If you have $100,000, they most certainly won't pay up to $100,000, but they will pay the amount that is owed for those medical expenses. And while we're on the topic of uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage, you need to be aware of something else. For each vehicle that you have on that policy, you can multiply the amount of coverage by the number of vehicles. So let's say, for instance, if you have a uninsured motorist policy, underinsured motorist policy for $10,000, if you have two vehicles, then the coverage is now 10,000 times 2. So you have up to $20,000 in uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. In a state like Florida, where there's no bodily injury coverage requirement, and where we have individuals who either don't have any bodily injury coverage or don't carry nearly enough bodily injury coverage to cover an individual if they have to incur medical expenses from their negligence, it's a very good idea for you to purchase uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage for yourself. I can already hear some of the arguments from folks out there saying, I can't afford this uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage because it'll add too much to my premiums. And listen, I understand, I get it. But just imagine being told that you're now responsible for a $75,000 medical bill that's going to be placed on your personal credit because the other person didn't have bodily injury insurance and you didn't have the uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage on your own policy. Believe me, I know it's not fair, and it's one of the reasons that I've taken up the fight to require bodily injury coverage here in the state of Florida. But until that time, it's just one of those things that's going to continue to be a thorn in the side of individuals that are involved in motor vehicle accidents when there's no bodily injury coverage on the other side and where they don't have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. As always, if you found this video to be helpful and would like to see more come down the pike, just hit that like and subscribe button and I'll be more than happy to keep them coming down the pike. But until next time, I am Greg Jackson, self-proclaimed attorney extraordinaire, a co-host on the weekly radio talk show program, Let's Talk About It, and a general in the Let's Talk Nation. Until next time, be good.